Poor little boy. When I was 18, I worked at Walmart. Worked is the key word in that sentence. I was fired from my job after I had a minor disagreement with a customer. It was simply a case of a customer wanting to return an item they had purchased, and I refused to accept the return and showed a remarkable unwillingness to give them a refund. My manager overheard this conversation and exchanged a few words with me. There were actually two. "You're fired." He then began fawning over the customer, assuring her that he was more than willing to accept the return of her purchase and refund her money. I didn't leave right away. I stayed to observe the fun. Where was the item she was returning? I answered before she could do so. "It's over there somewhere, asshole," I said. You can probably guess that I wasn't interested in returning to my job. "And over there, and over there, and a little more over there. You'll need a brush and a shovel to clean it all up." What happened was this. A woman bought a very nice television set, quite large. The car was parked right outside the door and I could see everything. The box was too big to fit in the trunk of her car, so she took the TV out of the box, assuming that the TV was smaller than the box and would fit in the trunk. To some extent, she was right. She shoved at least half of the TV inside and secured it by covering it with a blanket and screwing the lid on tightly, holding everything in place. Then she backed away. A car was approaching and she stopped, half out, obviously oblivious to the amount of TV sticking out. A passing car snagged the TV, threw it into the road, and ran over it. The next two cars also ran over it, leaving a non-functioning TV everywhere. So she wanted her money back and I said no. It wasn't the fact that I said no that got me fired. It was the fact that I expressed my honest opinion of this woman, with stupid being one of the kinder words. I don't think I'm fit for customer service. It was amusing to watch my former manager try to change my mind about the refund. Returning an expensive TV because it was defective or because the customer made a mistake is one thing. Returning a pile of mangled wreckage when the store wasn't at fault for anything was something else. When he tried to take back his assurances, she was all but you said, and I was quick to remind him that he did assure a refund. My former manager ended up calling security. Not at the customer, but at me, demanding they escort me out of the store. I walked away laughing. So there I was, temporarily torn between jobs. It won't be for long. There are jobs available if you're willing to take them, and I was ready. It wouldn't be in retail, but I could handle it. A couple days after the event, I was home and completely out of it. One of the benefits of a full-time job is that it gives you something to do. I couldn't even socialize with any of my buddies because they were all at work. All I could do was sit back and wait for responses to my job applications. Feeling restless and seeing that it was a very nice day, I decided to take a walk down the street. I would buy something for lunch while I was out. A few houses down, I came across Marlene watering her garden, a lovely young creature, Marlene. She was about 170 centimeters tall, well-built, quite intelligent, and in her early 20s. She was also married, but I, being the presumptuous young jerk that I was, ignored that. She was actually quite attractive. I stopped to say hello. "Steve," she said back after I called out to her. "Not working today?" "Not for a few days," I humbly admitted. "My boss caught me arguing with a customer and fired me." "That's a little harsh for a first offense, isn't it?" she asked in surprise. I shrugged. "Who said it was a first offense?" I asked in turn. He may have also mentioned something about foul language, but that was after he fired me." She threw me a suspicious look, and I told her the story. I was telling her she was an idiot and learning to be a weakling when Mike came up behind me and heard me. Over and out for yours truly, but she really was a stupid woman. If you'd heard her speak, you'd agree with me. "So what are you doing now?" "If you mean in general, I'm waiting for responses to my job applications. I'm sure a fine, decent young man like me will be in great demand. If you're referring specifically to this moment, I'm trying to think of an excuse for you to invite me inside so I can take shameless advantage of you. Coffee, perhaps?" She blinked, looking a little surprised, and then smiled. "You're a bit young, aren't you?" she suggested. "Besides, I'm married." "Old enough," I assured her, "and I'm not married. You might consider that a positive thing. I'm just starting to lead a promiscuous life. I need an older woman to guide me." "I'm not much older," she said, a little irritated. "Anyway, like I said, I'm married." "Oh, that doesn't bother me. If it bothers you at all, feel free to say no. I'll just ignore you and get you anyway." "Not funny," she said demurely, but I only grinned. "It amuses me," I remarked. "I'll be even more surprised when I hear you protest when I take your clothes off. Let's discuss this internally so we can push my agenda." I carelessly put my hand on her shoulder and turned her around, giving her a slight squeeze. "So are you going to offer me coffee?" I asked as we headed for the door. "No, and I think you're in for a bit of a shock if you think you can taste anything." By now we had reached the door, and she calmly opened it and walked in. I followed on her heels. "Why is that?" I asked curiously. There was amusement and confidence in her voice. She was quite sure that I would not do anything she did not want me to do. Mind you, I suspected she was hoping I would try something. It was good for her ego, if nothing else. She didn't need to answer. The voice behind me did it for her. "If it's time for coffee, I'm in," came a panting voice. And when I turned my head, I saw Denise walking across the street following us into the house. I think Marlene had noticed her approach, which is why she had been so kind as to enter the house. Denise was Marlene's friend, similar in size, but blonde to Marlene's brunette, another attractive dish, also cooked in marriage. "Actually, no. We didn't discuss coffee. I just dragged Marlene inside to work my evil charms on her," I said calmly. "Seeing that you're here, I'm quite prepared to deal with both of you." "He's joking," Denise said, and Marlene giggled. "No, I think he's serious. A little crazy, but serious." Denise was closest to me, so I reached out and took her hand and pressed it against mine. Her eyes opened a little wider when she recognized what awaited her there. "Oh, gods," she exhaled. "He really is serious. Did you notice what he has?" Marlene didn't know that, but now she took the time to check. She exchanged glances with Denise. "And yet," she said, shrugging, "we're married." "You're getting off topic," I told them. "Namely that I don't care about your marital status and I'm going to impose myself on you. I'm bigger and stronger than you, so you're just going to have to do what I say." "You're dreaming," Denise grinned. "Why would I be daydreaming?" I protested. "Obviously, I'm putting you both at a disadvantage. You'll just have to get used to it." "Ah, might I suggest you start taking off your clothes?" "That's not going to happen," Marlene said with a chuckle, and Denise chuckled and nodded in agreement. I shrugged and reached for Denise. She was wearing tights and a t-shirt, and getting those tights off should be easy. It was easy. Damn easy. "I can't believe you did that," Marlene exhaled while Denise wailed. "Why me? I thought you were going to go after Marlene." "I already said that since you're here, I'll take you both on," I pointed out. "I'm young and can handle both of you without any problems. As to why you, well, if I had started with Marlene, you might have chickened out and run home. I didn't think you were going to run home with your tights down to your ankles." "You can't seriously believe we're going to let you make love to us?" Marlene exhaled. "You've already tested how serious I am," I reminded her, taking her hand and pulling it to me again. "As you can sense, I haven't changed my mind." I felt her hand close around mine for a moment before she yanked it away. She and Denise both stared at me intently. "What do we do?" Denise turned to Marlene. "Well, you could always pull the tights back up if you don't feel like it." The thought crossed my mind, but I wasn't stupid enough to say it out loud. "Well, we either pick up a heavy object or," Marlene said, looking at the rolling pin lying on the sink. "Or what?" Denise asked, and I repeated silently. "Yes. Or what? We recognize that he is too big and too strong for us to handle and give in to his violent demands." Now you're joking. Don't you realize this is serious? Denise wailed. Of course I do. I'll tell you what, if Steve can finish undressing you without hurting you in any way, I'll accept that he's unlikely to hurt us and get naked too. What? But he's going to sleep with us. Doesn't that hurt us? Not if we cooperate. I reached out and poked Denise lightly in the chest. Denise, take off your top, I said softly. Why would I do that? She demanded an answer. Because then you'd be naked, unhurt, and Marlene would be obligated by honor to strip too. It's fraud, insisted an indignant Marlene. Not exactly. Denise will take off her top because I insist she do so. That makes me responsible for her nudity, and you'll have to strip. Denise started giggling again, and in one smooth motion took off her top. I damn near swallowed my tongue. She was amazing, and she wasn't trying to hide anything. Just stood there and challenged Marlene. Dura, I'm so going to get back at you for this, Marlene muttered, but true to her word, she did something to her dress and it slid down, allowing her to step out of it. She put her hand behind her back, and then her bra slipped off, and a moment later it was all on the floor. Now both women were looking at me in anticipation. Oh yes. Now I would have to undress myself. I unbuttoned my pants, pulled them down along with my swim trunks and stepped out of them, and both women looked at me meaningfully. I found myself blushing slightly under their gaze. I took off my top, threw it on over my pants, and just stood there looking at the two women. After a moment, Marlene said, "Well, what are you waiting for?" with a smirk, and Denise started to giggle. "He doesn't know what to do," she said, laughing louder. "Poor little boy, all talk and no experience." I blushed and was ready to grab my clothes and run away, dressing on the run. I didn't get the chance to do that. Marlene reached out and her palm closed around me. Not a timid touch, but a firm grip. "Let's take him to where there's more room and give him an education," she said, turning and dragging me behind her. There was no way I could do anything but follow her as she dragged me like that. She led me down the hall to the master bedroom, pulled the covers off the bed and climbed onto the bed, and I followed on her heels. Denise climbed onto the bed next to me, and I was pinned to the bed by two naked ladies. I tried to sit up, intending to start touching everything I could, but I was pushed down hard until I found myself lying flat. "For now, just lie there like that," Marlene said. "Don't worry. Soon it will be your turn to do things your way. Right now, just lie there and suffer." With those words, the two of them began teasing me, touching me, groping me, and trying to drive me crazy. I was sure of it. I almost jumped off the bed when Denise leaned over me and her mouth closed over me. It was ridiculous. Marlene waited a moment for my insistence to subside, and then her lips pressed against me, once again making sure how close I could be to the edge. When she let go of me, the two women looked at each other, and the next thing I knew, they were playing rock, paper, scissors. Denise won, giggled, and climbed on top of me. "Now you just lay there," she told me firmly. "Don't try to react to what I'm doing or you'll lose your temper too soon. I'll let you know when you're free. Now we're just going to relax for a few minutes while you recover, and then we'll have you do your business instead of us doing ours," Marlene said. I said, meaning that I had already done my thing. Denise giggled. "Don't worry about that. You're young and horny. You'll be surprised how soon you'll be ready for action again." With those words, they started touching me, teasing me, and working me over. The girls seemed pleased with what I was demonstrating. They looked at each other and nodded. Then they played rock, paper, scissors again, and this time, Marlene won. "Okay, we've shown you what we can do," Marlene said. "Now it's your chance to show what you can do." I got down to business and we made love again. Afterward, Marlene announced that she was going to take a shower and invited Denise and me to go home. We both quickly dressed and left. As we left, I quietly exchanged a few words with Denise. "You know, I got the impression that you would have liked it better if I had been a lot rougher with you. Now I don't want you to feel disappointed, so I'll come and see you tomorrow. You can continue with my lessons, and I'll make sure you get what you need. I think we should start with lovemaking, just to get you in the mood. What? What makes you think I want to see you again? What makes you think I want it to be rough or let you spank me? You're not right in the head. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. If you're home tomorrow, we'll find out, won't we? Denise snorted and strode away with her head held high. Still, I'd be willing to bet she'd be home when I stopped by and let me in. I suspected that the thought of what might happen was already arousing her, helping to set the stage for the next day. She'd be up all night wondering what it would be like to be spanked by me. Her husband had better be ready for his wife to be aroused tonight. The end.